We were supposed to be dating. We were still dating until this plumber guy came along. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone.
She just couldn't hold back her anger.
I hate you! And you can feel my skin! I hate you, dog!
The stepdaughter of a woman killed as young children looked on comes face to face with the killer.
This case takes us to Detroit, Michigan. Father's Day 2017 was going to be a fun celebration for mother of three, 43-year-old Latrese Morris Dorsey. She was getting ready to go celebrate with her sisters and her father. Her 14-year-old son was in his room, and her beautiful 4-year-old daughter Jada was watching her get ready. Sadly, Latrese's jealous ex-boyfriend would storm into her home and take her life that day. How could anyone do this to a mother in front of her child? Welcome to Viral Crimes. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more stories. Justin, Latrese's 14-year-old son, could hear the loud argument from another room. Gunshots rang out abruptly. When he arrived in his mother's room, she was on the floor, having just taken her last breath. He cradled his mother in his arms as she passed away. When the bullets were fired, neighbors heard them and rushed into the house to aid Latrese Morris Dorsey, but it was too late. Latrese's sister Megan Morris questioned little Jada about what transpired on that tragic day. "My mom is dead. He killed my mom. My mom is shot." Justin reported to the police that he witnessed someone fleeing the house and getting into a dark car. After breaking up with her ex-boyfriend Earl Maxwell, Latrese, a physical therapist, just relocated to her house on the west side of Detroit. According to Latrese's family, he wasn't handling the split well and wasn't ready for her to go on without him.
Murdered with her children in the house with her, including her 4-year-old little girl.
Now police say the search is on to find and question her ex-boyfriend. 7 Action News reporter Kimberly Craig has been talking to loved ones who say that ex-boyfriend has been a problem.
Yeah, Kim joins us live now. We understand that children weren't harmed, at least not physically, Kim.
That's correct, Stephen. Physically, they're okay, but as you can imagine, heartbroken and damaged in so many other ways after what happened here. Now, Latrese Dorsey had just moved into this yellow house with her kids a few months ago after breaking up with her ex-boyfriend, a man who would not leave her alone.
He told me last week, he said, if I don't get in touch with your ex-wife, I'm going to come and shoot her in the head.
Loved ones of 42-year-old Latrese Dorsey say her ex-boyfriend was upset that she had already moved on after their breakup a few months ago. Detroit police are now looking to question 38-year-old Earl Maxwell in Latrese's murder. She was killed in her home on Avon in front of her 4-year-old daughter Jada.
She said he came in and he said hi to Jada, to her, and he started shooting her mom. Yeah, he shot her 5 times.
Latrese's 14-year-old son Justin was in a back room with his headphones on playing Xbox, and he heard his mom arguing with someone, but he had no idea the sounds that followed were gunshots until his little sister ran to tell him Mommy had been shot.
For him to see his mama take her last breath and him trying to help her live and then him running outside screaming, help, 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 that's sad. You know, we all lose loved ones every day, but to see your mom just die in front of you and under those circumstances, that's the sad part.
Now the search is on to find Latrese's ex-boyfriend, Earl Maxwell. Right now, Detroit police are only calling him a person of interest. We're told he's 5 feet 8 inches tall with a heavy build, yellow teeth, and Latrese's name tattooed on his left arm.
If somebody know where he is at, you are just as guilty as him. The fact that you are hiding him, the fact that you are helping him hide.
Latrese's father, James Morris, was heartbroken by his daughter's death. "I had 3 daughters, 3 beautiful daughters, and he put a hole in my heart." For him to get this call on Father's Day, the one day where he's supposed to be celebrating with his girls, he gets a call saying this coward ripped her life from him. When Maxwell was arrested, he was also accused of felony firearms violations and first-degree murder. After being identified as a person of interest by the police and the media, he surrendered to police.
The man accused of killing a Detroit mom while her kids were home will be in court.
Yes, a judge is going to be deciding if there is enough evidence to send him to trial. Let's get to Coco McAvoy joining us now live. And Coco, this is a crime that really shocked this neighborhood.
Yes, Rhonda and Evra, that really did shock the neighborhood because the woman was shot and killed in her home while her kids were also in the house. And today, 37-year-old Earl Maxwell will be in court facing charges for her murder. It's been 4 months since the death of a Detroit mother shot and killed in her own home. This was the scene that day as family and friends learned Latrese Morris Dorsey was murdered.
What's really disturbing is that there was a 4-year-old child in the house and a 14-year-old, and to find your mom, to hear the gunshots and come out into a room and see your mom laying there bleeding, my heart goes out to them and to the family.
Police say Dorsey's ex-boyfriend, Earl Maxwell, shot her multiple times in her home near 8 Mile and the Southfield Freeway. Dorsey's teenager heard arguing followed by gunshots, and neighbors recalled what happened next.
He just said, help, that's, my mama's been shot, my mama gonna die. I don't know if he didn't kill my mama, I don't know what's going on.
Neighbor Ron Wilson tried reviving Dorsey that day.
I gave her CPR and, I noticed the bullet wounds. I noticed she took her last 2 breaths.
Medics responded to the scene and pronounced Dorsey dead. Police say Maxwell turned himself in to the Detroit Police Department a couple of days later in connection to the deadly shooting. Now he will be in court today as more facts are presented in the tragic case.
Witnesses say he had a cold, calculated plot to kill. Brand new revelations in court against a man charged with gunning down a Detroit mother as her children looked on.
Today, the autopsy report discussed and introduced, and it was learned this woman was shot 10 times.
Latrese Morris Dorsey had dated Earl Maxwell for about 4 years until right before she was murdered. Testimony today at Maxwell's preliminary hearing indicated they'd broken up and she was dating someone else, and clearly Maxwell was upset. Her estranged husband testified about a few phone calls with Maxwell.
What did he say the first time you spoke?
When I see your wife, I'm gonna kill her. The second time he called, he reiterated that he was gonna hurt her.
That was 2 weeks before the murder on Avon. Maxwell's defense attorney, though, challenged Dorsey's testimony, saying it conflicted with his statement to police.
Well, no, sir. What did I just say? I said, first time I said he called back, he said he killed her. He called back 5 minutes later, told me he wasn't going to kill her. But that's what he said. He said twice he was going to kill her.
Okay, but that's not what's in your statement, is it?
Yeah, that's because, let me tell you why. That's because my wife was dead, and I'm going through my mind crazy, okay? And you guys question me. I know. Go ahead, do your thing.
Let's do this.
But the prosecutor pointed to another statement, Maxwell's.
In his statement, claims that he accidentally shot Ms. Dorsey 10 times. He specifically indicates that he accidentally shot her in the back of the head, in her hands, throughout her body.
All with that 4-year-old girl in the room. And what you heard there, a word, accidentally, is what the defense is focusing on to try and get this first-degree part of the murder charge. That seems to be the sticking point here, including one of those shots that went to the back of the head, they saying was accidental in kind of this whole flurry of things. But again, he was bound over on the first-degree murder charge as well. Back to you, Karen.
Jason, talk to me about the defense. Are they trying this as a crime of passion because Maxwell allegedly fled the scene?
He did flee the scene, yes, and police also say he tossed the weapon. So both of those conflict with a crime of passion sort of thing. And as you also heard, that conversation, those threats made in testimony today happened 2 weeks before this killing. All of those, the prosecution points to this was premeditated.
She just couldn't hold back her anger.
I hate you! And you can feel my skin! I hate you, dog!
The stepdaughter of a woman killed as young children looked on comes face to face with the killer. And wait until you hear what she said before the judge hauled him off to prison. Raw emotion today inside a Detroit courtroom as Earl Maxwell was sentenced for the cold-blooded murder of his girlfriend.
Making matters worse is what Maxwell said to the court before his sentence was handed down. Let's get right to Mara McDonald. She's live tonight. And Mara, he reportedly said he loved her.
He repeatedly, Kimberly, said that he loved her, and how her children managed to keep it together as well as they did, I have no idea, because the only thing worse than listening to this man blather on about how much he loved this woman that he murdered was when he started trying to justify what he did.
I hate you!
Children grieving their mother poured it all out in a Wayne County courtroom today. Earl Maxwell was the ex-boyfriend of Latrese Morris Dorsey. He became so enraged with her, he busted into her home last year and shot and killed her right in front of her 4-year-old daughter with her 14-year-old son in a neighboring room.
My mom was the nicest person, the most caring person, and for you to take her out of my life like that hurts my heart so much.
What disgusted her children even more?
We were supposed to be dating. We were still dating until this plumber guy came along. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone.
Maxwell continued on with things that had the judge telling him to zip it until finally.
But I was wrong. I was wrong, and I'm sorry, and ain't no way I can repay this. It's between me and the Lord now. I just want to let y'all know that I have repented with every bone in my body, and I can never take this back down here on this earth. And I just want to let y'all know that the Lord gave me a dream that she's with the Lord, and that's the only thing that kept me from killing myself.
After pleading guilty to murder, Maxwell received a sentence of 25 to 50 years in prison in June 2018. Justin Dorsey, who was 14 at the time of his mother's murder, later went on to graduate with a 4.0 and receive a full football scholarship to attend Ferris State University. He will be majoring in physical therapy like his mother. What happened to Latrese Morris Dorsey was tragic. My condolences to her friends and family. May you continue to heal and find peace. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.